In my restless dreams, I've seen these places. Places I've never set foot, but I remember being there. They call to me as if they know me. I feel a familiar pull to them, as if I've known them all my life. I remember sitting at this Taco Bell, consuming the foulest grease ever known, wrapped in a dirty tortilla shell, and shitting my guts out in the bathroom under the glow of fluorescent lights. I recall the gentle humming from the lights as I shat out all my organs and cried. A memory I replay every time I see these images.
Let's get liminal. What's good, dudes? I'm Dylan the Dark. Surely some of you have seen one of the internet's newest creepy fascinations, liminal spaces. Video compilations of liminal space images have been spreading like wildfire, with thousands of people rallying behind the sense of vague familiarity that we feel when looking at these videos. A factor in what led to this new fascination is a very similar subgenre of horror, the backrooms, which, if you didn't know, is a creepypasta that details an endless labyrinth of blank walls and hallways. Being trapped in a never-ending void is indeed a frightening concept. But if you ask me, people bringing in monsters, different levels of the backrooms, and making it needlessly complicated ruins the effect. I've noticed that ever since Five Nights at Freddy's came out, overly complicated lore is something that everyone thinks a horror concept needs. Which it doesn't. That's why out of the two subgenres, I think liminal spaces are more interesting to talk about. So what is it about these images that has captivated so many people? Well, I think the answer is quite simple, and a little disappointing. But before we get into that, what are liminal spaces? Well, according to the dictionary, liminal can be defined as of relating to a transitional or intermediate state, stage, or period, and as an adjective, relating to the point beyond which a sensation becomes too faint to be experienced. So what makes a space liminal? The images are typically man-made areas that lack one crucial detail. Man. And woman. And baby. And dog. And crab. Pretty much, you're looking at big, empty spaces with no people. So why does that seem so unsettling? Take this image of a mall. Normal, right? Nothing out of the ordinary. Now, look at this one. It's a little unsettling. Unless you're a night guard at the mall, in that case, this is just a Tuesday. So why does an empty mall unsettle us? Think back to the definition of liminal. Of relating to a transitional or intermediate state. When you're at the mall, where do you spend most of your time? The stores. Unless you're like me and you're in the food court. That's my favorite shopping center. Have you ever stood outside of the stores and just looked around? Chances are you don't spend a lot of time doing that because you're always walking from one store to another. The space you use to walk from one store to another isn't something that you really process all that much because you're thinking about what store you're going into next. And typically when you're in that space, it's full of people. So seeing an image of a place that you frequent, but with no people, gives off an eerie vibe in the back of your brain. It's familiar, but it's missing a key ingredient. The hordes of people clogging up the walkways. And walking so goddamn slow. Come on, could you pick up the pace a little? Come on! I just want to get to the Disney store! Move! Believe it or not, you've been in liminal spaces before. They're actually quite common. Just the other day, I was looking at an apartment building that had an empty model for showings. When I first entered the room, I felt a small feeling like something was off. And that's just because this is a space made for living with nobody living in it. The very room that you're watching this video in was, at one point, a liminal space. But now, it's full of your belongings, and huge fucking piles of clothes everywhere. Ah, dude, you gotta clean up in here. Once you carry that thinking when you look up liminal spaces, it demystifies it a little. And I'm not talking about the clearly edited images, or ones that are intentionally made to scare you, or ones that have monsters in the background. Again, not everything needs to be overly complicated. Before my next point, I'm going to show you some liminal space images with no music, no ambience, no Minecraft music, no TikTok slow reverb audios, and no jump scares. I promise, I won't scare you. You can trust me. See, I told you I wouldn't scare you. I'm a man of my word. Y'all need to be a little more trusting. Now, did you still feel that same sense of fear when you looked at the images? Probably not. And if you still did, then I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to put you down. No, I'm just kidding. So why do we feel that vague, freaky, familiar feeling when we watch those compilations? Well, the trick is in the title, because before you even click the video, your brain is being played. Strangely familiar, uncomfortably familiar childhood places, places you've seen in your dreams, AVGN versus Nostalgia Critic complete feud. Right there, that's triggering your brain to look for those memories of public places you've been to. Just seeing it with no people is new to your brain. And new things are often scary, especially when creepy music is playing as well. Like, let's see if these videos are as effective with some different tunes playing.
Bend your knees and stick out your pelvis. I'm telling you, baby, it's better than Elvis.
He's the leader of the bunch. You know him well. He's finally back.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Now, what is the overall message of this video? Change is bad. Actually, I just wanted to talk about liminal spaces because I enjoy the subgenre. I like how people across the world can relate to images like this and all have that feeling of unease and nostalgia at the same time. At least if you're an American or live in the western part of the world, which, based on my analytics, most of you are. Special shout out to my dudes in Poland though. So jest dobre! That's another thing. Liminal space videos differ based on what part of the world you're in. Images that can unsettle Americans don't always have the same effect in Russia or Asia, where architecture is different, and vice versa. Either way, I really like this new style of horror that's emerging from the internet, where it's not about monsters, characters, and external stuff. Genres like liminal spaces, analog horror, and even the backrooms all target you, the individual engaging with the content. I look forward to where the online horror discourse takes us next. Thanks for watching the video, dudes. What do you think about liminal spaces? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoy my antics, why don't you check out some of my other videos too? And if you really liked it, sub to the channel so you can get your dose of dill when it's fresh. Although my videos never go stale. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you all on the flip side.